As promised, I wanted to introduce the new book that I am reading. It's called Rules for Visiting. I am really enjoying it thus far. It really has to do with a woman who's in search of friendship. She had a mother who wasn't particularly engaged as far as having a lot of friends, and I don't think that we really understand how much our parents imprint upon us things that we've never really talked through. Because I can say I myself also had a mother who had friends, from what I understand from the stories others told us, but as I experienced her as a teenager, and when we moved to Arizona from Michigan, that's a whole other story. I didn't ever really experiencing her with friends except maybe one friend. And it was a friend who was very much proactive, like became my mother's friend, came to my mother's house. I don't think she ever went to that woman's house. It's just very interesting to think about the things you remember from your childhood. But anyway, this is, like I said, it's a really eclectic story. She's a woman who's a gardener for a university. I don't want to tell too much because it's just so many delicious details that I want you to just happen upon. But she somehow finds herself with a sabbatical. She won a sabbatical, and everybody was, saying that, oh, this is the perfect time to go, find yourself and explore the world. And she really felt led to desire why she doesn't have an easiness around friendships. So like I said, it's an incredible story. And I told you, my love from fiction just came back in the last 6 months to a year. And every book that I've picked up, for the most part, that has been like a national bestseller, which I've always been a little bit like, I don't know, like snarky about, like, but no, the people know what they're doing. These books have just been incredible. I keep promising I'm going to do a video of my favorite books that I've read over the years that really made me fall back in love with not just reading for information, but reading for enjoyment. And the stack is building. I want to make sure I have a decent stack before I do that video. So I am heading to the gym now. Been staying consistent with my gym time, which is good. Just put in a lot of hours of work now that I know the goals of our startup are really more about scores and not, I don't even know what the other word would be, just simply giving families daycare, childcare, so they could go to work. And I feel a little bit like I'm a bait and switch for the families because, I just had conferences the day before and, asked what their expectations were, of what we were doing at school. And, they're, very happy with what's been going on. And I've, of course, obviously been giving them academic instruction, but I haven't really been pushing children that are more social, emotionally needy. And now knowing that those ultimately are the expectations being put on me, I have to revamp my plan again. And so just did a lot of research, found different games I can play with the kids. I'm breaking it up 4 letters a week. So that means pretty much every 6 weeks I'll be going through letter sounds, letter names. And so given we've got 3 weeks in March because we have a spring break, and then 4 in April, so that's 7, and then 4 in May, so that's 11, and then 4 in June, so that's 15. I could realistically go through, I think testing is in May, so I will at least get through all letters, names, letter sounds once, almost twice. And I've got to figure out how to also put in there
the connection between uppercase and lowercase, because in a Montessori classroom, you don't really introduce uppercase letters. And, you know, on the assessments, they, of course, will more than likely have children trying to have and see if they can connect the uppercase and the lowercase letters. So I do have a lot of ideas. You know, again, it's being able to sustain it, right? So I was able to find, you know, so on top of, you know, everyone's going to get a lesson with the sandpaper letters. I've got 5 games, so 1 game a day. And I'm going to send home what, you know, in AMS, when I first started out, I was introduced to something called the secret message. And what it was, when you would do your, when you introduce letters through the sandpaper letters, you would, you know, show them the letters, and then when they'd get to 3 letters, because they're shown not in alphabetical order, they're just randomly shown, so that children aren't just memorizing it. And so then when you get to 3 letters that they did not know, you would do a 3-period lesson, which is very much, you know, a standard in a Montessori classroom. But then in AMS, you would make these little booklets, and we'd call them secret messages, because you're decoding, you know, so it's kind of a cute way to think about it. And then you'd send it home, and the parents would know what letters we've been working on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that with everyone. So everybody's going to, on Monday, take the letters SMAT, the secret message, home. I'm going to send a note to families saying that if your child is going to kindergarten, the expectation is they're practicing the letter sound and the letter name at least once a day with you at home. And then I will also be practicing, and then I'm just going to build on it. So next week I'll create these, you know, 4 more, you know, letters, put them in a book. So I, on top of, you know, all of this researching and then finding the material, you know, the games that I'm going to play, and then coming up with like a game plan, so it's not just about the letters, but we're going to do other work in the classroom, obviously. And then making the little individual booklets, because we don't, in the school that I was in that was practicing this way of teaching the letters by way of what they called a sound table, they would make the booklets for us, and then we would, you know, just you know, we didn't even have to cut them or anything. We'd just write the letters in a highlighter and send it home. Well, my whole house of all the stuff that I have, I can't find myself a highlighter, which drives me crazy. So I'm going to have to do the handwriting journals when I go to school tomorrow. Hopefully I will not be interrupted. I will tell you on another day why I'm saying that, because I got interrupted when I went early on last Monday, and it just set the tone for a really not great week. Anyway, I won't even get into it. But yeah, so I did that. So I basically cut the paper, you know, stapled the paper, wrote on the outside practice letter name and sound, and then I wrote each one of them individually. So each child on Monday will get a book that goes home, and then, you know, and then we'll just kind of go from there. And, you know, I'm just going to try to come at this at as many angles as I can. First of all, just really hammering the sound, the sound, especially at the beginning, but then, you know, at the beginning sound, but then I'm also going to talk more about ending sounds when I'm able to do that with the breakout groups. Now, I think I mentioned before, the problem with, relying on the breakout group is that very soon, because of the heat, because we're already March 1st experiencing 93 degrees and on our patio we do not have misters, we do not have any sort of covering that kind of shields the sun. Our classroom has a bit of an advantage because the way our classroom is, it doesn't hit directly on us, but it definitely is still an issue as far as heat is concerned. So, you know, again, just trying to work out all these kinks and trying to find a way to stay positive without going straight to rage with the amount of hours, like literal hours that I add every day to what it is that I'm doing. you know, and then at the same time trying to rest from all the work so that I'm ready to go into the week positively, you know. So anyway, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do a little walk on the treadmill. It's my day off from weight training. I'm going to probably do a massage. I'm going to find a way to make it so that it's not so freaking harsh, because oh my gosh, the last one I was like literally in pain. It's like, okay, I don't think there's a knot that I have that needs to be this worked out, but you know, who am I mean, I'm not the maker of the chair, but I almost thought, how would you know if the chair is like damaged and like actually really hurting your body rather than doing what it's meant to do? Who knows? All right, I'm gonna head inside. I do feel good about having it all done. I forgot to give a little show and tell of the Goodwill stuff, so I will try to do that in the classroom when I take it all in tomorrow. So the other day I was going to Walmart because I wanted to get some plants for our classroom, and they were way too expensive. But they actually set up their new floral department. It was a really grand opening at the moment in our house, but there were a few of the, let me see what these are called. They're poppies. It says needs full sun 6+ hours a day, and it'll get 15 inches tall. It needs to be watered two to 3 times per week. So you can see that they've outgrown these pots, and so I picked up a pot. They were completely out of pots, which was kind of interesting. And then I had this pot here, and then I have some potting soil. And you've probably seen before, I've been kind of on a journey with plants. I'm not a full-on plant lady, but our son stayed with us for a while, and he was going through some things, and one of the things that seemed to really bring him joy is to revitalize plants. And I have a fond memory about these plants here. He's since gotten some help. He was a veteran suffering from severe PTSD, and thankfully he went through a treatment program and taking it one day at a time. But he these are here, and I have, that memory of just having some more time with them, because, when the kids grow up and go away, you usually don't get that. But anyway, what I thought is, I put them out thinking that my daughter, who still lives here, might see this and be inspired. But it's been a couple of days and nobody's done anything with it. I thought, oh my gosh, we're going to end up losing these plants if somebody doesn't replant them. So here I am. And I don't mind doing it. As I told you, I'm starting to find new joys in life. The cooking through emails. Yesterday I made this chicken lasagna that was so good. And today I'm making a twist on tacos, deconstructed tacos. And they're not crazy, intricate recipes. It's just, again, it's giving the flavor and the variety. And I think that's what I was definitely missing, is I was going for ease and efficiency, but it was just, part of life is, having little enjoyments. And, I see even as a family everybody's looking forward to dinner now. So that's really nice. So I just thought I'd bring you along with me as I put this together. I think we're going to set them on the front porch. I have some of those Miracle Row tab things to put in it to kind of help with the process. But yeah, again, I just find myself really intentionally searching for more of the good stuff in life. I found myself looking at cruises, and people love going on cruises. I'm not so
into kind of being stuck on a boat, even though there's many things to do, and I have done a cruise before. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I want the ability to be able to walk outside. So I'm kind of a boring tourist in that sense. I'm not really trying to. So there we go. So we already got one blooming there. Now, like I said, I'm just trying to, I think, save it. Hopefully they're a hardy plant. We'll find out. But yeah, I definitely have been. Yeah, this does not look like it's going to come back. We'll see though. We'll see. So anyway, that's one. This one in here. This one is a bigger pot, so that might be helpful. I think I'm going to try this time, putting this in first. I got them on clearance for $2.50. Just for this. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe massage it a little more and then add around. As you can see, I'm really not sort of expert on this by any sense. But I think the easiest point of entry is to find ways to do it where it's not breaking your bank, and also where it just gives you the ability to like have a low entry point. So then if you have a little bit of success with it, it brings you joy. And I think sometimes, well, I don't think everybody's like this, because I have definitely met a lot of perfectionist type people, and that's a hard way to live, even though it sounds good. Yeah, it's just not a great way to live, So, all right, this one had a little bit of a flowering on it, but yeah, okay. So I'm gonna water them. I'm gonna put them out front, and then we're gonna see what they do. This is the work we did with some counting cubes, where the children cut out the flowers, and then they measured it with counting cubes, and then I wrote the number over the top, and then they're supposed to trace it. Some of them did, some of them did not. And then they were invited to create their own garden using strips of paper and an iteration of a butterfly, but they could use it in any way they'd like. And so you can see some of them added bugs, some of them added more greenery. So it turned out to be a really lovely project, and because we are moving into March, I thought this would be a great time to set the stage for us doing some planting with this little wall mural. All right, heading off to work, and just wanting to talk about the way my mind is transitioned now that I've seen the STAR assessments, which is an assessment that children take as they're heading into kindergarten to see if they're ready for kindergarten. So the new information I got now that we finally got the documentation is that my group was actually the lowest of the 3 classes. And while there has been improvement, there is blaringly obvious to children that somehow there needs to be an intervention about. And I'm still waiting on the person who has that particular job title to talk about interventions with me. And I don't really know how to address it further, because it's like beating my head against the wall. The person is so adept in the way that she hides what she's not doing for the children. Masterful. I've never seen it done this well. But again, when you're in an organization where your boss actually isn't in-house, and you can document however you feel, and even, as I've mentioned, the constant observations that I get when things are written on a paper and you're looking at it going, well, why would you write that? Why would you write that? I'll give you a very clear example. It was a beautiful work cycle. Actually, I had two people observing me at the same time. And on this particular observation sheet, it says, I have wonderful new tools for you to use in the calming area. Now, number one, no one was in the calming area. And number two, what's in the calming area right now actually is working beautifully. So, A, why are resources being spent on something that aren't needed? B, why am I not being asked, have I used all the resources that the school classroom came with? Because there actually are things that I haven't even put out yet that haven't been used. And C, is that how we are documenting we're doing something important for classroom? Because there's no context for why that note is there. But when I ask to have an explanation for such things, I am met with, I am disrespectful. I am not upholding the expertise of the person. Listen, I know I'm documenting this because I know that this is other teachers' struggles as well. You think you have a tool in place in your school in the form of someone who actually can tend to the needs of children that are beyond your scope. And what you find is you're still the one tending to it. So even as I go in today, and I do go in early just to kind of have a sense of the day, just to get a good start on the day, have my mindset right as I go in, I still am in a sense of wondering. And my wonderings are, when is someone going to finally see? When is someone going to finally see? Yes, so I literally was talking yesterday, like today was Friday. Woke up this morning thinking it was Friday and that we were having pizza day because our family does pizza night on Friday. And then all of a sudden I slowly dawned on me, no, it's actually Thursday. It's actually Thursday. Anyhow, I came up with the idea of doing a project that I've done in the past. I just got to figure out how to do it for the group that I have before me. Because we're studying Africa this month, and we did this, have done it before, this project called Women Carrying Baskets. And so, inspired by these beautiful pictures. And what I want to do is I want to have them build it first. I just need to find some black crayons so they can do the arms and the circle. I think I'm going to use some origami paper for their clothing, and then they put the legs on it, and then we're going to use, because one of the projects we have on the shelf, I just noticed something. I was like, what is that? I just walked into the rundown or something. Anyway, we have one of these projects on the shelf where it's called Pulling Burlap. Let me show it to you. These projects that when they first did it, oh my gosh, they were obsessed with it. Now, not so much. But it's kind of it's a preliminary work to potentially starting to sew. And so I was thinking kind of to revitalize this, I'm going to cut these into baskets. You know, the culture in Africa, parts of Africa, where women carry baskets on their head. And so I'm trying to do watercolor painting at least once a week. We have not done it this week. And so I thought I'd do a combination of that, talking about Africa, talking about the women, building in the weaving part, using the burlap, and have them, use shapes to put them together to make the shape of the woman, and then draw a circle face, just stick arms and then legs, and then I'm going to give them the opportunity to paint the background with watercolor paint. So I think it'll be really nice. I was going back and forth of, do I want them to paint the paper first? I think the problem with that is sometimes they paint to the point of obsession, because I don't know whether they don't paint very much or whatever. But also I was thinking it's a lot of space, white space, and sometimes children get intimidated by that. And so I thought, well, if we put the women on first, I think I'm going to put 2 women on each one. I'm going to put 2 on each one, maybe 1. We'll see how it goes. And they glue it down, and then they paint around it. Again, I'm still kind of kicking it around, so I'll make sure to show you the final results, but I think it's going to be a really sweet project for them to do. Well, I got my workout in. I knew I was going to the gym. I wasn't sure if I was going to start week number 21 with working out weights or if I was going to do a run. I decided to go with just some hill climbing on a treadmill. Nothing too crazy. I have these earbuds. This is a random rant. Earbuds, and I don't know what strange shape my ears are. I can never seem to keep earbuds in my ear. So whether it be walking on a treadmill or working out like with the weights, just always my earbuds fall out. Doesn't matter what brand, what style, doesn't matter. And so as I'm walking on the treadmill, suddenly an earbud pops out into some abyss where I do not know where it went. So now I am down an earbud. But, damn it, do I know how to do hard things? I sure do. And I did get that workout in. So is it making me stronger every day? Or is it making me just ready to retire? Who knows? But I did get the workout in. I do know how to persevere. But sometimes it's just like, damn, it does not need to be this hard all of the time. All right, I'm going to go home and cook one of my emails.